All right, welcome back everybody. Anybody that's new here, thanks for joining me today. I hope today's video kind of inspires some people to get out ice fishing and think a little bit more about ice safety. I'm kind of on a kick with these DWS Outdoors ice fishing stories with safety, because I'm going to start it off that way with the season, mainly because I want to try and help you guys stay on top of the ice if you're going to go out ice fishing. So yeah, let's get it started. I'm going to talk about what I use, and then we'll go from there. All right, so the thing that I wanted to talk about today is more along the lines of not necessarily staying on top, but it's more about staying hydrated and looking at the weather ahead of time. One question. You guys comment below right now the reason you're commenting below. I'll give you a second. And let's go back into the stay hydrated and look at the weather ahead of time. This is a quick story. I will make it short and sweet. Also, I want you to comment below your experiences, if you've had any experiences similar to this one, because this sucked. One thing you guys are going to realize is I push myself really, really hard, and I don't know how to back off a little bit once in a while. It goes with everything I do in life. But one of the things I'm going to tell you guys about is one time I went out fishing and I brought my entire sled with me. The big thing was I had basically all my ice fishing gear that I could think of packing into my sled. So I brought my Smitty sled with me. If you guys don't know what that is, I will do a completely different video on that if you guys want me to. Comment below about that too. There's a lot of things you can comment about in this video. But one thing I want you guys to do is comment below if you guys want me to do a Smitty sled video, and then any experiences like this that you've had. Also, the other thing that you guys got to comment below about. Anyways, so like I had my Smitty sled. I had it so like I could pull everything easier and all that stuff. But the problem is, okay, this is the problem, you guys. This is not rule number one. When you go ice fishing, look at the weather beforehand. So like not the day before. Like you obviously got to do that so you can kind of prepare what you're bringing with you, heat, this, that, and another thing. But when you're going ice fishing in the morning, as you're getting ready to leave, look at the weather. Why, do you say? Well, I'll tell you why. So I've packed my sled when it's full of everything, batteries, equipment, gear, auger, everything. It's like 250 pounds-ish, maybe 300 if I overpack it because I'm being stupid. Like I said, all in sometimes. And when you go all in, you tend to overpack. I'm sure there's a million of you out there. You can comment below on that too if you want to. Are you an overpacker? Do you bring too much gear with you on the ice? Here's a problem that happens when you do that. So, overpacking and not checking the weather beforehand. So I get to the ice. We'll jump right ahead. I'm to the ice. I packed everything up. I put it on my Smitty sled. I get to the ice and I look and there's no snow anywhere. Nowhere to be found. Not a single drop of snow on the ice. And I'm like, oh, hey, I don't even need my Smitty sled today. I have Hyfax runners on my sled. And I have a nice long, like 40-foot rope or whatever looped out, so it's like a 20-foot loop. So you can pull it really easy. I have ice cleats. I never leave home without those. I will put that video at the end of this video as to why I don't ever leave home. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, stay tuned to the very end of this one. You're going to want to see that ice fishing story. Yeah, needless to say, I don't leave home without my ice cleats. Anyways, so I have those, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is going to be such an easy thing to do. And it was. I'm on a new lake. I'm going to go, my mission was to go get perch. And you guys go ice fishing for perch, you know. You got to drill some holes, you got to move around. I'm like in heaven. The ice is like 6 to 8 inches thick. There's no snow on it. And there's nobody out there. So I'm just like, I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to walk, drill, and I'm going to find these perch. I'm on a mission. And as the mission continues, I continue further and further and further and further and further and further and further away from the boat launch. And I'm like, this is so easy. I just had the rope around, just walk in, drill, drop, mark them, my fish finder that I use or was using at the time, and jig a little bit. Nothing shows up in 10 minutes. Move and drill. You guys know the drill. No pun intended. But that's perch fishing in a nutshell. So there's nothing new or different. And when there's no snow on the ice, it's like I'll walk 20 miles on the no snow on ice. It's still a pain in the butt when you're pulling 250 pounds behind you, but it's a whole lot less of a pain in the butt. So it's like I just keep walking and drilling, and I get almost all the way to the other end of this lake, which is only like a mile long, mind you. It's not, I don't even know if it's a mile long. It might be a half mile long, maybe a little over that. But I'm on the other side of it, so you got like a football field wide, almost a half mile, maybe a little more long. So it's like a long skinny lake type thing. I get all the way down to this part, and I remember seeing some marks about halfway back. So I'm like, well, I better go back and check those marks, and I better do it quick because it's going to get dark in about 2 or 3 hours. I drilled and fished all day already. I got there at sunup, and I was there. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had about 3-4 hours left before dark. And I knew I wasn't going to fish for crappie or anything after dark, so I knew I needed to get out of there. I go back to that spot where those fish are. I set my shack up, which I almost never do. And the minute I set my shack up, I drop my bait down, and I can sight fish in like 10 feet of water in this body of water. It was so clear. And I see a school of perch come in, and they're big perch, like 10 to 12 inches. And I just start ripping lips, and I'm like, this is amazing. I can't believe I walked right past this. Just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, because you drill 200 holes and you end up back in one of the old holes that you drilled 4 hours ago. Always check your old holes. There's a good tip for you guys. Always go back through your old holes. Maybe not go through them all, but check them. Anyways, I get back to that. I set my shack up. At the time, I had a flip one man, so you could sit down and just flip it up, and you didn't do any poles or anything like that. My auger's sitting next to me, and I'm sitting there, and I'm hearing stuff, but I'm not paying attention because I'm catching fish. You guys know what it's like to not pay attention and catch fish. Anyways, so I'm catching fish, and I'm still hearing stuff, and then now I'm hearing stuff run down the back of my shack. Because I have my heater on in there, and it sounds like snow running down the back of my shack. This is why you check the weather. I open my window, and it's white. It's white outside. I'm telling you before, the trees had no snow on them. The grass had no snow on it. The lake had zero, none, not a dusting. Now it's white outside. And I'm like, oh, there's some snow now. And I'm going to have to walk back through that. Good thing I'm like half the distance I was away. Like that was my mindset. And these perch are still below me. So I shut the thing, and I'm like, all right, I have like 7 to 10 perch or something like that. I know I had a couple of them. I'm like, I'll get 15. I'll do 5 more, and I'm going to get the heck out of here. Well, it took me another hour to get 5 more. And it was like an hour till dark at that point. I got the 5 more, and this is the first time I think I've ever done this, but I was like genuinely worried, and I should have been, because this is where this is going to get interesting. If you guys are following along, comment that you got to the point where it got very interesting, and I'm not saying that in a good way. Pack up everything. So this is the cool thing about the flip one man, and I need to get another one. Flip it over, pack everything in there, threw the cover on it. Probably 10 minutes, maybe. maybe 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. I got packed up. I was ready to go. All the fish are put away, everything. I turn and I look back to the shore where I need to go back to, where my truck is parked. And I'm like, I can't really see it. That's how hard it's snowing. And I take 2 steps and realize there is now like 6 to 8 inches of snow where there was none before. And it was like that moderately packy stuff that's kind of drifty but not. So like it would push up and then pack. You guys know what I'm talking about if you're a walker. So I feel for you guys. This is where things get weird. I start walking and I'm noticing something. Anytime I start like leaning into it, I'm fine. The minute I start getting weaker and leaning back, it packs up and I stop dead in my tracks. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a hard walk back. And then the snow blows away and it's just gone. And it's a bluebird sky as I'm standing there. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. It's just not snowing anymore and it's sunny out. And it was like 3:30 p.m. in like the middle of winter. And I'm like, all right, so it's sunny and I can get back. But then I looked at my clock and I'm like, I really need to get back to my truck, which normally would have taken me like 15, 20 minutes at the most when there was no snow on the ice. So in my head, I'm like, okay, every time you relax, it builds up and it rips you back and you're gonna get jerked back on your head. It's gonna, you're gonna get hurt, whatever. So I do what I do best, and I just leaned as far forward into my rope as I could, and I just start chopping away consistently, and I just keep a rhythm in my head, and I'm like, my legs are on fire, I'm ready to pass out, this hurts, mind you. So I went out there and I brought water with me, but I didn't drink any of it because there was no difficulty going around on the bare ice. So I had not drinking water all day. This is another one of those like, yeah, I was being dumb. I can say that I was being dumb. Don't be dumb, because this is what happens. Chop, 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 chop. I woke up in snow. I don't remember anything besides chop, chop, and this. And I had like a little pocket here, and there was ice, but like my head was like sitting in the snow. I had blacked out, just boom. And I was laying in the snow. I don't know how long. It was still light out when I woke up, so it wasn't more than like 20, 30 minutes or whatever. But I got up, and I was like, oh, that's so bad. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I hit my head. I don't know what happened. Like, I'm all alone. Nobody else on this lake. Nobody. Like, just me. And I was literally like, I could have suffocated probably in the snow, because like that's how avalanche victims die and stuff like that. But I got up and I looked at my sled and I just said, no, I'm going to leave it. I have to get back to my truck and drink some water. So I grabbed my water that I had, started drinking it, started walking back to my shack, or my truck, to the parking lot where it was parked. Got all the way back to my truck. I always have a shovel. This is another tip for you guys. I always have a shovel. Just type shovel below. If you understand the value of having a shovel in your vehicle all winter long, type the word shovel. You guys just do it. This saved my life, time, money, everything. And it's also got me out of a lot of trouble other times. But I go back, drink the rest of my water, sit down, relax a little bit, think about life and why I was so stupid. And then grab the shovel, walk back, and as I'm walking back, I make a path that's just as wide as my one man, just one slap shovel at a time until I got all the way back out there, drank the rest of my water that I had with me, and then grabbed my one man and walked it across that ice all the way back to my truck, which I still felt messed up as I was getting back to my truck. But long story turned long. Drink your water, check your weather, drink your water, take a buddy. Take a buddy. I have to fish and film and do a lot of things myself. There's a lot of times I go out fishing because nobody else can by myself. But for the most part, most of you guys have somebody you can bug until they go fishing with you. But I'll never forget that feeling of just like, I didn't even feel cold because I was so hot from pulling it that when I pulled my head away, it felt weird because it felt like it felt good. The cold on my face felt good. And then I realized that I was face down in the snow on a lake in the middle of nowhere, blacked out, and that was not good. So, yeah, that's a crazy one that I need everybody to know about, because it's never happened again since, because I make sure I drink water as I'm walking out. A lot of times I time my water now. If you guys have been around for a while for the summer, I have hundreds of summer videos. I've had heat stroke multiple times now, and you can get heat stroke and heat exhaustion from just overheating your body doing ice fishing stuff. So make sure you drink your water. Yeah, this turned into just a PSA about take care of yourself and drink lots of water. But watch the weather. If it's gonna snow, bring a buddy, lots of rope, pack lightly. I hope today's video made sense to all of you. Oh yeah, and I'm curious to see who noticed and who commented below. I'm not going to say what it is because you guys know what I'm talking about. Either way though, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Obviously, if you're not new here, you know what's up. But if you are new, can you please just remember to